Hey YouTube, it's Sean Sundahl once again. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome day. Today I'm going to answer a question from one of you guys. Question comes from Christian M. Christian M is one of my favorite subscribers. He always asks great questions, great input, great comments. And his question to me is this: hey Sean, random question, but should a private security officer arrest or detain a suspect who is vandalizing the client's property? This is a very good question, and actually I was on my way to the range. This is the color that you will see spill onto the streets if you don't take your firearms training seriously. And unfortunately, it will be your blood on the streets if you don't take your training and tactics seriously. I just have to say that I'm headed to the range, very motivated to train right now. And I was thinking about Christian's questions before I took off, and I want to answer that because this is a great question. I know that there's other questions that are pending. I have a question that I need to answer for Rob, or actually a topic I need to cover for Rob, and I'll do that in another video. I don't forget about you guys. If I didn't answer a question or a video request from videos ago, please let me know. Just send me a reminder. I get a lot of correspondence, email, text message, phone calls, and every day I'm just trying to catch up. So let's talk about this. So look, your ability to arrest or detain somebody is going to flow from the criminal code, whatever state you're in. I can't always assume that everybody's in California, so I'm going to speak in general terms. Your power generally comes from the state legislator. And in most cases, you as a private security officer have the same, but a little bit more power than the average private citizen, and I'll explain in a minute. As a citizen, you have the ability to arrest somebody. As for detaining, that's another different issue that we're going to discuss, especially in California. But you have the ability to make a private person's arrest typically for crimes that occur in your presence. Now, I'm going to talk about the California standard. I don't know what the laws in every other state are. Maybe you can let me know what the laws are in your state. But all of the states, they tend to follow the common law of England. Yes, the common law of England. That's where all of these laws are, most of these laws are derived from the common law of England. In California, vandalism is classified as a felony when the amount of damage is over $400. Under $400, it's classified as a misdemeanor for most vandalisms. So now let's talk about the significance of felony and misdemeanor vandalism. In order for you to make a private person's arrest, in California, at least, you have to observe the vandalism occurring. Okay, this has to be in your presence. Now, in your presence could mean that you use any of your senses, sight, smell, hearing, okay, to make those observations. Now, when I say observations, I don't necessarily mean that you're seeing something. An observation could be the equivalent of hearing something, okay, or smelling something. So if you smell graffiti, you hear graffiti being applied to a wall or something, and then you cut the corner and there's only one person there and they're walking away, the paint is fresh, and then they end up fleeing, okay, you could technically make a private person's arrest for vandalism if you can prove that there's a nexus between this person and the damage. Now, the problem is forming that nexus within seconds is very difficult, because if you don't make a decision very quickly, this person is going to get away from you. And that's why it's so important to know what the law is, know what your policy is. If you're unsure about it, you're going to hesitate, and then the person's going to get away. Now, in that circumstance, by the way, the best way to make a private person's arrest is if you actually see it with your eyes. That's the better way, rather than using your other senses. For a felony vandalism, if you have reasonable cause to believe that a particular person is the one that committed this vandalism, and you could prove that a vandalism actually occurred, then you can arrest this person irrespective of whether you observed the felony or not. And that's the main difference. So in other words, maybe you work at some type of art gallery, there's a $50,000 painting, and there's perhaps one person in the building, only one person, you're there, and you hear the sound of something being cut, okay? And this person is perhaps in front of this painting. And you turn around, and then all of a sudden there's a cut now. And seconds before there wasn't a cut. Person walks away. Well, to make a felony citizen's arrest, you have to prove that there was an actual felony vandalism, and number two, that you have reasonable cause to determine that the person who you are arresting is the same person who committed this felony. Okay. Now, the problem is that if you're wrong, there's no good faith exemption for you. You're going to be on the hook. That's why it's always best thing to do is always observe something. So this is the whole difference between knowing your felonies and misdemeanors. The felonies, again, can't reiterate enough that. I'm sorry, for a misdemeanor, can't reiterate enough. It has to be committed in your presence. For felony, the crime does not have to be committed in your presence, but you have to have reasonable cause to believe that this person is the one who committed the felony, and you have to prove that a felony actually occurred. Again, you're gonna have seconds to make these determination in many of these circumstances. Now, I'm getting closer to answering Christian's question. So number one, you have to consult with your SOP, your standard operating procedures. What is a policy for your private security company? Are you a hands-on or hands-off policy? If you're a hands-on policy, then I would aim more at making this arrest for vandalism. You also have to consider your backup. So if you're the only officer, I'm not too sure I would approach this person and make a physical arrest if it's just me. Unlike law enforcement, you cannot just get on the radio in many of the posts that you work. You can't just get on the radio, hey, I'm going to be out with this subject on this part of the parking lot, and then you have a dispatcher that answers. Most security companies don't even have a dispatch. If you do, then that is a blessing. It's also a blessing if you have backup. But if you're on your own and this person ends up turning around and trying to attack you, I mean, you're on your own, you guys, okay? With gang members, okay, there's a reason why they are graffitiing the property, okay? They're claiming their territory. And if you're going to be the one to stop them, do not be surprised that they're going to use some aggression on you. You'd be surprised on people that will resist arrest. And let's just say a gang member or somebody's graffitiing the property, and you try to stop them, and they turn around, they produce a knife, they rush you with a knife, or they produce a gun about to shoot you, and they just say you're armed, and then you take them out. Well, I'll tell you this. Number one, your gun is going to be taken away for evidence for quite a long time. Okay, your case is going to be forwarded to the district attorney's office to see whether or not they want to press charges. Meanwhile, the better business practice for an officer a security officer that has been involved in an on-duty shooting is to put this officer on paid leave pending the results of the investigation. Because if the investigation end up showing that maybe the guard was justified but negligent, okay, and then you retain, I'm talking to employers now and security management supervisors. If you retain this employee and this employee ends up showing a high degree of negligence and you retain this person, well, that's called negligent retention. And any acts that this person commit that are negligent, it's going to fall back on the employer. Okay, you retain this employee, so that's why you want to keep this employee on some type of administrative leave even if you have to pay them. Okay, you guys, for employees that are involved in these critical incidents, you normally want to keep them on the payroll because you take them off of the payroll. They may not testify. You have to testify the truth, but they're going to be less motivated to protect the employer if you just get rid of them. Okay, so that's something you got to think about. With the security and management leadership course I'm developing, I'm going to give you an in-depth analysis on using force, policies, how these officer-involved shooting investigations are conducted with regards to private security. We go 3 to 4 hours of that in the presentation. It's a lengthy presentation, but we go in depth, and we even show you an on-duty private security guard shooting that was critiqued out there by the district attorney's office and the public, and this private security officer prevailed. And we're gonna learn a lot of things that happened in the case study. But that's in the future, you guys. That course will be completed in about 6 to 9 months, maybe shorter amount of time. So we talked about whether you should arrest this person or not. Detentions. If you're in California, you cannot detain people unless there is some type of merchant privilege. So the only time that you can detain somebody in California is if somebody is shoplifting. You suspect this person, you have reasonable cause to believe that this person has been shoplifting in the store. You can detain that person. And the reason why you're detaining them is you are investigating whether or not that this person did in fact steal something. If you're wrong, okay, as long as you have reasonable cause, then you're off the hook for the most common torts for unlawful detention are battery, because you end up touching the person. Now, battery doesn't mean you're punching the person. It just means that you're touching them, maybe relocating them, you're applying handcuffs. That could be a battery in the civil code side, the tort side. Okay, false imprisonment, kidnapping, because you're moving this person from one place to another against their will. Sometimes you might have to use force or the threat of force. So all these liabilities start stacking up. Now, this is a merchant situation, and everything we discuss applies, plus there's some type of agreement, preferably a written agreement, that you provide security services for this merchant. Okay, in essence, you become the merchant's agent, and then the merchant privilege rule would apply to you. So you could detain somebody. If they didn't steal anything, then you can actually release them. And you can also use reasonable force to detain this person. Now, this is only for shoplifting incidents. The difference between an arrest and a detention is as follows, and this applies to most states. A detention, you are temporarily depriving somebody from their liberty, temporarily, while you investigate whether or not a crime happened or not. With an arrest, you're taking somebody into custody, okay, and you're doing so under statutory authority because there's a private person's arrest law in your state. And you have the intent to actually process this prisoner. So what that means is this: you have somebody in custody for some type of crime, maybe vandalism. Okay, you contact the police. Okay, this person's not free to leave. You have them handcuffs, maybe not handcuffs, but you have them sitting down on the curb and they're not free to leave. Technically, they're under arrest. As long as you had the whole intent of contacting the police, and this is a crime that you observed, okay, because it was a misdemeanor, and you know that this person is the one that actually committed the crime. As long as you show that good faith effort of you contacting the police and the police showing up and you actually signing the private person's arrest form if a form is required, or saying or telling the officer you want this person in the private person's arrest, you can make a private person's arrest. Okay, but if you see somebody vandalizing property and then you end up detaining, so you just grab this person, right, put them in handcuffs, have them sit down on the curb, and then you never had the intent of pressing charges or getting charges pressed against this person. In California, you can't do that. You guys, you're detaining somebody. Okay, so there's a large difference, other than definition between an arrest and a detention. Okay, so I'll make this. I'll summarize. With an arrest, you have the intent of this case going all the way to the courts, and you're doing that by contacting the police. With a detention, you're just stopping this person, depriving them of liberty temporarily while you investigate. You do not have the authority in California. If you are an instructor in another state, or you have a high level proficiency of the laws in your state, please let me know what state you're in, and let me know if that state, if the state legislators have some type of laws that are into place that allow you to detain. Okay, do detain under the definitions, under the discussion that we had. Okay, are you allowed to detain and not arrest? Another last factor that we can talk about regarding detentions and arrests, whether you should detain or arrest, is this. How confident are you that the police are going to respond to your property in a reasonable amount of time after you make this arrest of this person? Now, I've heard that things may have changed. That there's parts in Los Angeles that you detain somebody, the ETA, estimated time of arrival, might be a couple of hours. Okay, I've heard that there's some cities where the police will respond the next day. And my question to you is this: you're going to keep this prisoner under your custody, under your care, for the whole day or tomorrow? I personally would not do that. I don't want to have somebody start accusing me of abuse. I mean, look, you have to feed this person. You have to give them water. You have to allow them to have toilet facilities. You have to allow them give them some shelter. Okay, this person is like your kid. You're going to have to watch this person for hours. And what if this person has some type of medical need? Maybe this person's diabetic. Maybe this person is a alcoholic, and that needs professional medical care. Because with alcoholics, if an alcoholic does not have his or her alcohol, okay, this person can die. And these are facts. Okay, you can die from alcohol withdrawal. Now with heroin dependency, okay, a little bit different. They're going to be going through withdrawals. Okay, they don't have their fix. Okay, they don't have their drugs, their fix. They're gonna start having withdrawals. And if you ever dealt with somebody that had withdrawals, it's awful. It's like this person has the flu times 10x. Person is miserable. This person might be so cranky, they might end up becoming combative. You want to keep this person for hours? I don't. So if I'm working private security, I'll give the local police department about 30 minutes or so. Another strategy is this. If you're not sure whether you could detain or arrest, I mean, first off, somebody at the company that you're working at did not train you properly. You have inadequate supervision. If there's no policy or there's no guidance on what to do if there's a crime that occurs on your property, that company, that organization has a total lack of leadership. But let's just say for some reason you're not sure, not because of lack of leadership or not because you don't know what the policy states, but more so because the facts are kind of blurry. You can always call the police. Call the police, and this person can be identified. So the police, okay, can detain this person. And I'm just talking about California right now. Other states are going to vary. But remember, all the states, you guys, they follow similar laws with regard to detention and arrest. The police contact this person who's leaving the property. You don't have to go hands-on with this person. You don't have to touch him. You don't have to approach him. The police do it, and then they'll identify him. Maybe they already know this person. What they'll do many times is they'll run this person's name and date of birth through the dispatcher, or they will run this person through their local computer system, okay, local law enforcement repository for law enforcement related records. And then when this person's contacted, there'll be some type of entry that will be made that can pinpoint this person with this date of birth was contacted here. And when I call the police and then they show up, I'm going to tell them, no, I don't want them arrested. I just want to give them a no trespass warning. And the police cannot give somebody an effective no trespass warning unless they identify the person. You have to know the person's, at least their name and their date of birth, in order to give them a no trespass warning. You don't have that information. The next time you contact them and you run them, so the next time the police contact this person, if they run them, if a different name is provided or a different date of birth or no date of birth, that person cannot be connected to an earlier incident where they were given a no trespass warning. So many times the officers know this person. They know where they live, and they could run somebody's they could find out somebody's name by checking addresses. Also, you could do a search inquiry for address, and then I would ask for some type of incident number or log entry number or report number that you can have on file that can attach the incident to a card. Or you can always look up what the incident number is on the business card that the officers give you, and this person's name. Maybe their date of birth will appear in there, maybe not, but at least this person's name will appear on records. If the police don't want to give you the date of birth or the name of this person, that's fine. You can always do a public record request. Those are you, especially who are in management. You can do this. Request a public record request. All the information, including the name and date of birth of the particular subject that was contacted by the police on this date and time at this location. Most of the time, the police records department will provide that information to you. You just show up the next business day or 3 business days or a week later, and they should be able to provide that information to you. The great thing is the client should still be happy because this person was identified. If there's any damage to the property, the client could contact the legal department and file suit on this person. Now, most of the time, you're not going to get much from this person because many times they're transients. They live from house to house, tree to tree, place to place, and they don't have any money under their name, so it's not worthwhile hiring an attorney and litigating the issue in court. But at least you're doing your client a huge favor by at least identifying this person. At the very least, whatever you do, if you're not sure whether to detain or arrest, at least that's a proper way how to get them identified. Hope this video helps you understand the laws of arrest, laws of detention, particularly in California. I know that this does apply to many of the states, but obviously you got to research your own state laws. None of the information I gave you guys, this is my disclaimer by the way, is not legal advice, not professional advice. Facts are going to differ. What I want you to do is all the information that you have in this video, I want you to present it to an attorney and ask, hey, if I do A, B, and C, would this be legal? Let me know what you guys think about this video. I want to know what states are you guys in, and what do you think? You think it's a good idea to arrest somebody for vandalism? Other than the consideration that you have to consult with a policy or maybe a supervisor. Okay, you guys all take care and be safe.